line then?
No, I just lifted my
Did
float
you?
slightly, yeah.
So your pellet's gone behind a little stick.
Yeah, it just seems to float. I'm just lifting up.
Yeah.
And I'm dropping.
Do you know they don't honestly.
You finished your burger yet?
No, lovely.
Fantastic. As you can tell, folks, it is lunchtime. Lee's stuffing his face. No wonder he's piling on the pounds. That was a little clip of our underwater special, one of our underwater specials that we released over Christmas. The last time we spoke to you was, I think, 3 weeks ago. So I hope you all had a great Christmas and Happy New Year, everybody. What was your Christmas, Lee? What did it entail?
Do you know, Rob, it's so busy over 2023. I'm going to say it was so busy, like mentally never ever take a break, do you? Like it's always on. And just before Christmas, I had a little surge of like matches, and I just thought I'm having a complete break. And I put my fishing gear away. I haven't been in the garage for 2 weeks, and I've had 3 weekends off. Now, sometimes it not annoys me, that's the wrong word. I talk to people about this. When you look at people on Facebook posting about all these matches they're fishing and all the rest of it, it can be easy to be like, oh, wish I was taking part in those over Christmas. But I think because we're so lucky that we are doing it so intensely for most of the year, then I kind of sort of look and think that's great. I like the fact that people can get out over Christmas nights to really look forward to that time because I could get out and do it. But for me, it's a perfect time to Downs Tools. All my family live miles away. So just basically travel around and do all that. And it means that I am super keen. We're out tomorrow filming the first one for the Edge of the Year. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going in the garage this afternoon to start sorting all the stuff out. I just had a complete break. Like, like sometimes you hear about, you read in some of these other sports, don't they, where people go, I'm just gonna have a break. And I made a purposeful effort. It wasn't like it's not happened by accident. It was literally like, I am not touching my stuff for 2 weeks. I'm just literally going to have a complete break. So that was me over Christmas. Really good, to be honest.
Yeah, superb. I'm the same. I mean, I don't like routinely going throughout the winter anyway. I like to pick and choose my matches. And with the amount of rain we've had, the fact that it's obviously winter, so the fishing isn't fantastic anyway, I think it's an ideal time to have a bit of a break. But then you do see the odd report coming through, and it's like they've had a good day's fishing, feed into it, and the rest of the match have struggled maybe, and you think, yeah, maybe I'm not missing anything here. So I'm the same as you. Unless something really takes my fancy, I'm not getting my gear out. Maybe a bit of lure fishing. That's probably, I might walk along the canal with a lure rod, but that's about it. That's more of a social thing, I guess.
I think it's healthy to do, and I think it's healthy if you're watching this with anything that you give your brain a chance to relax from it. Obviously, over winter we've been doing planning for the new year. You're still associated with what you're doing. And obviously we've been very busy on the stuff that we wanted to put out for everybody associated with what we're doing with the Edge. So, there's still been plenty going on. It's just not on the bank. And I can tell the difference, right? I've got clean hands for the first time, I reckon, ever. And I was walking the lads to school this morning, and it was like 2 degrees. Felt like my hands were going to drop off. I haven't been outside, really done anything in the cold. And I was like, oh my God, I need some training ahead of tomorrow.
Yeah, no, it's cold. It's turned cold. I've just been out walking the dog. There's like a big hill near us, and we go and walk the dog up the hill, and it was like, God, this is cold. The wind's getting me here. It is freezing out there.
Well,
the subject of today, folks, we're going to talk about our goals for 2024, but we want to know, what are your goals? So get in the comments. We're going to talk about everyone's goals, what they want to achieve in their fishing. So do you want to qualify for a big final maybe? Do you want to try a different style of fishing? Do you want to win your club league? Do you want to just learn a few more tactics? Whatever you want to do, put them in the comments. We'll read through them all. We'll try and touch on everyone's aspirations for 2024. But in the meantime, what are your aspirations, Lee, for 2024? What are you looking to do? What are your goals? If you would set a goal at the start of the year, what would it be?
Isn't it a weird thing, Rob? Like the goals are so it's such a weird thing to say, because with fishing, it's not as cut and dry, is it? It's just like, for example, what's your goal for? Well, I want us to win the World Championships. There you go. That's it. You can't. That's my life goal. That's a goal that, like, I want to achieve at some point for us to, win the World Championships. But I appreciate everything. That's a one weekend event, and everything's got to go right for that to happen. Which I very much understand that's not always possible. When we lost in Belgium by a point, as a classic example, that's, it just didn't fall our way. So it's always the goal to win. I think a better goal is to try to focus on, like, some broader topics that I want to concentrate on more. Obviously feeder fishing plays a massive part. So for me, I want to make sure that my feeder fishing plan is good. I want to make sure that, we've got an early World Championships. We've got an opportunity to go to a tournament before the World Championships. That's going to be a big focus for me. So I want to spend the time between now and then building up to that, which is difficult, isn't it? Because really, our feeder fishing year, I'm going to say, we go over the winter to Hallcroft, but it's different. It's mono. It's waiting for bites. It's not the same as once the season gets going, the Super League gets going, the feeder masters qualifiers get going. Well, that's all going to happen after we get back from the World Championships. So my little goal is to make sure that I'm ready to go to the World Championships and switched on to my feeder fishing. There's not going to be many chances to get on matches before that, because there just isn't any. So it'll be more, maybe we'll go out and have a couple of sessions, just make sure that everything's a little bit sharper before we head off for that pre-event, which I think that pre-event's going to be a good chance to almost blow the cobwebs off of that style of fishing, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. And when I look at it, I've just been filling out, I get like 2 or 3 calendars, put in my rough dates, and then I have a final calendar where you know exactly every single date what you can do. And
hang on, whoa! You're making out like you're really organised, which that is not the Rob I know. Are you having a laugh?
So I was actually looking at it, and that Marina Masters event that we're going on before the World Championships, it's only literally 2 weeks before we leave. For the World Championships, it's going to give us a massive insight. And what we've not got, as we have had in the past, is the opportunity to, maybe me and you or the rest of the team, go out somewhere in this country, fine-tune everything in nice weather and similar conditions to what we're going to face when we go to a World Champs. We can't do that because we're going to Spain. It's going to be reasonably warm. We can't replicate fishing for carp in warm weather in this country in March, can we? That's going to be a problem. So that preliminary, is that the right word? Maybe. And even if I've said it right, I'm not too sure. Marina Masters sort of festival is going to be really important. Yeah. I think for me, like you say, I'm not too sure whether my goals are, I want to win Feeder Masters, I want to win Fishermania. I don't know if I've got those particular goals.
No.
Of course I want to do them, but I think my goals are, and it's always been like this, I think, just to be able to put myself in a position to be able to win one of those events throughout the year.
Win if you have the chance. That's right, yeah.
It's top of my game, whatever that is. So I'm in a good position for if I get that opportunity, rather than setting a goal. Because it's all right saying I want to win Fishermania, but in actual fact, how do you get there?
You can't win Fishermania if you don't enter a qualifier, Rob. So It can't be a goal, can it? That's it. And if you get to Fishermania final and you're on the wrong side of the lake, just as an example, you ain't going to win Fishermania. You then got to try and make the most of it. But a better goal would be, no, I want to be in Fishermania, and I'm going to focus on that as a pursuit. Which obviously for us both, the main domestic event that we put as number one is Feeder Masters. We want we enter the qualifiers and we enter the Team Super League. They're the two, because it's focused around feeder fishing, they are the two first set of dates that go into my calendar. And actually, it has to be a bit fluid. If I was lucky enough to qualify early, which happened last year for me and you, for example, frees up a little bit more dates and gives you an opportunity to do other things if you want to.
Like coaching your lads' football team.
Exactly. But if it was July, and I still haven't qualified, I won't have been doing any Fishermanias. For example, we never get to fish Fishermania, Rob, because we're always away with the feeder world champs.
Yeah, well, this brings me on to Dave Brown. Dave Brown Jr. has just commented, and his goal is to qualify for a big money final. He's been lucky enough to qualify for the Maver and the Golden Reel in the past, but he really wants to get in the Fish Show final. Now, where do you rank them, Lee? So, if you could choose one of those 3 big money finals, because this is always
three. On those 3, let me get my scale. There we go. It goes Fishermania, Match This, and Golden Reel, because Fishermania for me is head and shoulders above those other 2, even though they are all 3 good events. Fishermania is the original big money match. It has the history, and obviously it has the presence of Sky and the television. For me, that has to keep it clearly above those other 2, and that's somebody who's been in all of those. So that's why when we talk about money, it's not about money, it's about the event, which is obviously why I hold Feeder Masters so highly. Feeder Masters, I'm biased because I run Feeder Masters, but we try to create the event, the title. It's not about the money. The money's a nice extra, but poorly attended qualifiers and all those sorts of things, you can tell where the priority lies, and that's how it should be for me. It's, like I say, it's not a slight. Those other 2 competitions are great, but Fishermania is the elite one of those 3. So, if you want, Dave Brown Jr., if you want to be in the Fishermania final, the first thing you need to do is plan your calendar to concentrate on Fishermania qualifiers. Now, for me, when I was doing that little bit of chasing a long while ago, I used to look at all the qualifiers, Rob, that were local to me. Like, I didn't care which one of those 3 finals it was. I just went on all the venues that suited me because it made me feel more comfortable about my fishing. But if I was like, I don't know how Jamie and that operate, but I would think because they see that as the number 1, no doubt they pick all the Fishermania qualifiers first that they want to fish, and then the other ones fill in the gap so they can have a go at all 3. That's what, if I was Dave Brown Jr., that's what I'd be doing.
I think it's important with all these goals, this is just my mindset. If you have got a goal, you've actually got to do it. You've got to plan around that goal, because it's all right saying, I want to fish Fishermania, or I want to get into a big team, or I want to fish in the England team, or whatever. You've got to actually plan around that. We all want to be millionaires or billionaires, but there's actually steps to get to that point. And without doing all the extra work, you're not going to get there, are you? So it's not saying it, but you've got to actually focus on that particular goal and go for it. So we're all right in saying then that Fishermania is above the others.
Yeah, because of the reasons we said there, the history, the coverage, the fact it's part of our angling, our governing body. They're all those things for me keep it at the top of the tree for those 3 commercial based competitions. It's a brilliant. But like we said, those other 2 comps, and again, Match This is ahead of Golden Reel because Match This has got the history. It's got a longer history. Fair, and Phil Briscoe needs
big name winners.
Well, apparently there's been some, but like Phil Briscoe needs a big pat on the back because obviously he created that when he was at Maver, and then he's now he's not part of that. He's created his own, which I love to see, and I think there's some flexibility there as well. I think given all those finals, if you said it's Fishermania or nothing, I would be like, no, I would if I was in that world, I would chase the group rather than, and now Rob, that, there's Fish North, Fish South, Fish Midlands. There's the, FA Fishing Association thing, which is obviously all those things are great. And they give people a chance to chase what they want suited to them. Because it can be when it was just Fishermania, I tell you now, I found that really hard. I did, like going down to Baldings, which is nearly 3 hours for me, turning up, not knowing
that was my fishing, Lee. That was my fishing. It was sort of like
mine. It was mine, yeah.
Opens, and then a couple of trips to White Acres, and then 6 Fishermania qualifiers throughout the summer that you fancied, or you could manage to get a ticket for, because that was literally it. Now you've got so much joy. It's almost like, obviously we do our international thing, and our international thing sort of happened when this massive glut of matches started to give bigger opportunities to people. It's almost like we missed the boat on that because we're now doing international stuff.
Yeah, so that's right. I used to,
these bigger money matches.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, but when I did do that, I didn't enjoy it when I sort of like went globally. I actually ended up putting like an hour and a half travel limit. Like if it's within an hour and a half, I'll go to it. But see, like it's a bit different from Feeder Masters. I'll go to anything because obviously that's my priority, and that's what I want to get in the final. I will say, Rob, you can definitely mix and match. We are both here for Fishermania this year. If I qualified for Feeder Masters early and there was a couple of Fishermania dates that I fancied, I'll go on them. I'll go and have a go. If it's one at Lindholm, which is 40 minutes down the road, I will go because that would be a great thing to be part of. Obviously, not last year, but the year before, I was in the Match This final. And that was literally, I fished one qualifier, drew really well, and managed to qualify. Because I think those things are worthwhile doing, and you do it as well, don't you? You go to like
a qualifier if it suits, but it has to really suit, and I have to get all my sort of main priorities out of the way.
Which means it isn't top of my goals list. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. For me, the goals are World Championships and then the Feeder Masters events. They are big goals, and obviously for me, slightly different to you. Everything related on Dren and Barnsley Blacks. We have our annual meeting tonight, and there'll be a big focus on how we're going to make sure that we can do some good things this year.
Right. While there's a few people watching, because I'm going to, in massive contrast to what we've just spoke about with Dave Brown Jr., Stephen Armstrong's got a fantastic comment that is a massive contrast to his goal, their particular goal. Brilliant. But before we start on that, I just want to make sure that everyone who has watched or has thought about joining up to watch the underwater stuff that we put over Christmas knows how to do it on YouTube, because we've launched everything and we've had a few messages saying, I can't see how to join. Now on YouTube, on the page, because YouTube and Apple don't particularly get on amazingly well, Apple don't really like you being able to join up to YouTube. They make it a little bit difficult for you to join up. So if you were to go on your iPhone app to the YouTube page, to our Edge YouTube page, there's no join button. It's not great. If you were to actually search through Safari or Google or through your Android phone or through your laptop to the Edge YouTube homepage, there is a join button, and that's where you can join the site. So I'll put a link on, I'll probably put in the comments below how to find that join button. You just click the join button, and then you can watch all the content on YouTube on your big telly, comment on all the videos, get involved, all that sort of thing. And it's not just the videos that are coming, it's all the back catalogue. So everything that we've done in the last 2 years, all of those videos, they're on YouTube as well. So if you're looking to obviously join an online coaching style platform, have a think about it, cancel when you want, and that's how you join. So just to get rid of any confusion there, because a few people have said, I don't know how to join, I can't find the join button. It's probably because you're doing it on your iPhone. If you actually went off the app, typed it into Google, got to the Edge YouTube homepage, there's a join button there. You can do it easily from there. So Stephen Armstrong, total contrast to Dave Brown Jr., who wants to get in a Fishermania final because he's already been in the Maven Match This and Golden Rod. Stephen Armstrong, who wants to win 2 matches this year and learn how to fish a pole and learn how to fish in general. So isn't that why fishing is absolutely fantastic? Because match fishing for everybody, doesn't it? And Stephen Armstrong's been on our coaching days, and actually, he's caught a few fish on our coaching days.
Yeah, absolutely.
He catches a few fish on a feeder. He's really willing to learn. And I don't think Stephen Armstrong is sitting there on our coach day thinking, I'm going to go for Fishermania next year.
Yeah.
It proves it. He just wants to obviously win his couple of matches, get better, learn how to fish a pole, learn how to fish in general.
Which I think is great, because like we were saying before, he can't say, oh, I want to win the Christmas special match. He's going, look, if I fish a dozen matches this year, I want to try and win one. And you'll get a chance. In a dozen matches, you'll get a chance to win. You know, and I think we've both taken a lot of guys coaching, Rob, who one of my favourite guys that I took coaching, you know, his ambition was to try to win his club league. And he used to be like 4th or 5th, and we over like 3 years got him to win in the league. And it was more because he was really good at like 2 or 3 things. He was like amazing at pace, and he was good on something else, but he wasn't very good on a feeder, and he wasn't quite sure when he should be fishing what baits in the margin. And that's what I would say to you guys. Think about things that maybe you're a little bit weaker on. I've got a list as long as my arm for me, and I always look at them and I think, what should I really work on that little bit more? And if you work on those things, you'll find it'll give you more opportunity, because you'll still have your great pace day. The chap I was out with, Rob, he used to say to me, he'd come back, he'd go, I've won. Oh, brilliant. That's brilliant. What'd you win on? He'd go, with paced. And I think, oh, I didn't show you anything to do with that. And then the following week, he'd say he's come 3rd because he's caught down the edge using micros and corn, exactly how we did it, because his pace wasn't working. That's what allowed him to win his league. So, you know, because he was turning those days when he was coming 6th and 7th into 3rds, because his favoured method wasn't the one. So
his favoured methods on song, he wins those.
He wins anyway, yeah. On a good peg, on his favoured method, he wins. And there'll be loads and loads of you who know that you're strong at something. And I hear this a lot: fish to your strengths. I don't. Rob and I do not fish like that. We fish the peg, and then obviously try. If it turns out that our favoured method is the one, then great. But you've got to be adaptable to get that consistency and get the most out of it. So by all means, use your strengths, but back up your weaknesses, and I think that you'll get some better results.
This is something as well, because further down, Stephen Piner, his goal is to improve fishing enough to be able to fish a match for the first time. You've just got to jump in there, Stephen. Trust me, because this goes with a couple of guys reading through the comments. Trust your ability, turn up, and if you are off the pace, you'll learn a massive amount by fishing a match. You talk to guys after, you'll learn a huge amount. You'll make new friends after even maybe after the first match. You'll make new friends, be available to chat to people, try and find like-minded people. And you might be surprised also that your ability isn't as bad as you think. It's just literally taking your pleasure fishing and just adapting it slightly to match fishing, because conditions in matches are slightly different. You've got to understand that the fish are a little bit more on edge. Timings play a big role.
You're forced to sit somewhere.
So there's things like that, but you've got to jump in. You've got to jump in, because you'll be really surprised that you might have the ability, to do quite well. The same goes for Paul Williams. He wants to fish some qualifiers for the first time. Admittedly, he's nervous about mixing with the best anglers out there, but he feels it's something he would benefit from. And I tell you what, Paul, you bang on. I think nervous is the wrong way to be, but change that nervous for excited. You should be excited about mixing with the best anglers. And I tell you what's good about mixing with the best anglers, Paul. In fishing, anybody can beat anybody. And when you go on your normal matches, it might be a small club match or a little open, where the standard isn't quite as good as a qualifier. Sometimes, or a lot of the time, you will get beat, because there's probably 15, 20 guys there on the bank, 15 to 1 chance that you're going to draw the best peg or whatever's going to happen. You are going to get beat. But when Des Ship or Andy Bennett or Jamie Hughes beats you on the next peg, you drive home and you believe that, right, I'm on the right track. You can learn something from the experience today, because they're a good angler. They've caught £80 to my £50. how can I get to that £80? Because it feels like a bit more of a level playing field. What
I would
it would always bug me when someone who I felt was not as good or nowhere near as good as me would draw the cart peg down the other end of the lake and beat me. It really grind me, that would. And I understand that he's fishing, but it would really grind me. So for me, I would rather fish against better anglers. And if I do get beat, well, at least I got beat by a top angler. If you understand that. I don't want to be beat. I want to be almost forced to level up. That's how I see. That's how I try and attack my fishing. So for Paul, jump in, get some qualifiers done. Don't feel nervous. Feel excited about mixing with the best anglers, and excited that you're making that first step on the journey to hopefully getting better yourself.
Yeah, and you also have to remember with the nerves thing, Rob, is no one's looking at you. No one's looking at you. You're fishing. While you're fishing, everyone else is fishing. So there's nothing to be nervous about. If you catch very little, people don't look and go, "Oh, he's caught very little." People are only concerned about themselves. So go and enjoy it for what it is. Absolutely, just don't draw next to me and Rob and beat us.
I'll tell you what, it's happened. I don't think it's happened to us, has it? But it's happened to your team members that we've had subscribers that we've helped, and then they've drew next to people in our team and beat them.
Can you remember when there was a guy who came on one of our coaching days, and I'm not going to say any names, and he was good. We were like, he's good. And then like the following week, he rocked up on your match and you beat him. But you remember sitting there thinking, he knows all the stuff and he's really good. And it was close.
He's like, and he could beat me here.
Yeah, easy. You could easily beat you. Yeah. And that's why fishing is so great. It's fishing has that habit of doing those things. So yeah, it's good. It's really good.
So Mark Richmond, all the best, lads, for the new year. All the best, Mark. I've been fishing for chub recently and catching bream on cheesy garlic sonnet baits ooze on the bayonet. I don't know what are they.
The oozes, what size? Some big ones, some big boilies.
Oh yeah, if he's fishing.
Yeah, it's like a boilie that ooze. They are nice. They stink of garlic. I use them barbling actually.
Okay. Like squeeze them and a load of oil comes out, does it?
Not if they've got oil. Yeah, they've effectively got a dyed oil, I think, in them, like that stinks of garlic. So as they go in, it leaches out off the bottom, leaving a little trail down the back. But it sounds like a great bream bait.
My goal this year is to save up enough money to buy a decent pole, like a 14.5 or 60 metre pole. Then win the Winter League.
Go on, I love that. That's levelling up.
Literally, I'm going to get a decent pole, then I'm going to smash everyone up because I've got.
Who's that?
Mark Gallagher. I love that attitude.
I just want to make a comment on Mark with your pole, right? This is my honest opinion with poles because I work a lot, obviously, with Preston and with poles. Cheaper poles at like 11, 13 meters, there is nothing in it to a top range pole. Honestly, the difference all comes at 16. So, like, if you're a 16 meter guy, it's great. And there used to be a thing like, get the longest pole you can. I'm not necessarily going to advocate that. I'm going to say, think about where you go fishing. Honestly, the venues I was going on, there was an odd venue that was 16 meters. Nearly everywhere else was like 11 meters, 13 meters. I think I would rather get myself loads of top kits and spares on a cheaper, shorter pole because it will be as good. Because generally speaking, as poles go up in value, they don't sell them at shorter lengths. They only sell them at longer lengths. But you can get like a 14.5 or a 13 meter pole and get a load of kits as a good starter option, and it will be brilliant at that length. So certainly something to think about when you're looking in your poles.
I think I'd be looking at like 14.5 meters as a minimum. I wouldn't be busting the big money out to get a 16 because I always feel that you can buy a generic 60 meter extension a lot of the time, can't you? That when you feel that you needed it, you can go and get that 60 meter extension for the one time that you feel you need it. But most of the time, 14.5 meters is like more than enough, isn't it? Especially on, a lot of natural venues.
It is, but if you've got 14.5 meters with 4 top kits, and the 16 meters with 4 top kits, I would rather spend the money and have 10 top kits for my 14.5 meter pole than I would have 4 top kits for my 16 meter pole, because it makes a massive difference to your fishing, especially if you're going to smash up the Winter League. Let us know how you get on anyway.
Yeah, I'd love to know. I'll be targeting Paul Williams. I'll be targeting match this because of the types and location on the venues. This is what we've just been saying.
Hang on.
Match this, probably not all over the place. If you're Midlands based, match this is probably a good shout, isn't it? Fishermanias tend to be a little bit more all over the place. So match this, yeah, fantastic shout. Cameron McKenzie, our mate Cameron. My angling goal is to try and get into the overall top 3 of my club's championships. Thanks to you guys. Thanks to you guys' advice on the group days and the Edge videos, I managed to get in the top 5 overall last year.
Nice.
Which is like, we always get an update from Cameron.
Yeah.
It's always like really positive, and I've managed to climb the club ladder. And the good thing is, every time we get this update, it's always
a little bit better
all the time. It's brilliant.
Isn't it?
So keep going, Cameron. That's what we'll say. Keep going.
Yeah. Top 3 this year, mate, for definite.
Hi lads. Currently fishing for tuna off the coast of Lanzarote. Couldn't miss you, lovely lads, and the weigh-in. What? So he's on a boat?
I hope it's Mick Tonks.
No, it's not. It's Darren Hill. No, we got a live match from Mick Tonks from Medlands. Yeah. Darren Hill's on the back of the boat.
Darren, enjoy yourself. I hope you get a few runs. We're very jealous. I'll tell you what we should do, Rob.
Maybe we get one. Send us a picture.
Yes, do send us a picture. But I reckon we should do this live weigh-in from Lanzarote on the boat next year. What do you reckon?
Yeah, hopefully me and Leah are on the back of the boat next year.
Yeah, if you guys all keep subscribing, we might be able to afford one more.
More members we get, better chance we've got, isn't it? Chris Toon, is the content on YouTube the same as the website? Chris, it is the same. The only downside of YouTube, joining on YouTube, is it's 50p more expensive because of YouTube costs. We've had to increase the cost a little bit. And the Willy Worms discount that you can gain through the website, we're struggling with that on YouTube. So if you're a website member, you get, obviously, all the content, 10% off at Willy Worms, and it's a little bit cheaper. If you want to go on YouTube, it's a little bit more expensive, but YouTube, some people prefer it. It's, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. It's up to you, really, which one.
That's why we've done it, Rob, isn't it? Because obviously we appreciate that YouTube has a lot of benefits for people. It's a great platform, but yeah, it has to be a little bit more expensive because obviously it's a bigger cost. So
I can never. Obviously, he's turned into an amazing supporter of ours, but I can never understand. I don't know how to say his name. Screw it, 360 fishing. Honestly, want to start match fishing. Actually proved to my wife that all the Christmas presents was worth it. So obviously, he's had a load of fishing kit for Christmas.
Nice.
Mad into it.
No doubt he's got an Edge subscription.
Sorry?
No doubt he got an Edge subscription.
He has. He's a really a big follower of what we're doing. So, and he's always positive on everything that we put out. So hopefully, you've just got to get out there. Go into a local tackle shop or go on Facebook, find a local match. Get on it because you've just got to jump in. That's what you've got to do.
Go to a fishery that you really like. That's if you've got a fishery and they run any sort of like clubby type matches or like local small dozen people, get on them to start. Your favorite venue, get on a match. There'll be 2 guys there who are mega and can't be beat. There'll be 2 guys there who love to try to beat that can't be beat, and there'll be loads of guys there who just love being there and love to enjoy it. So,
and I think you've got to appreciate that you can't jump in first 3 or 4 matches. Just accept you're gonna get beat, but you're gonna learn a massive amount in the process.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know. You might get lucky. Yeah, you never know. Scott Preston, top angler, going to fish for the Welsh feeder team one day. Hello, guys. Happy New Year. When's the coaching dates and venues out? What's the features you're planning on doing for the Edge this year? We've got quite a few videos planned for the Edge this year. We went through quite a few over Christmas, and the coaching days. Am I right in saying that you've booked the dates this morning?
I've booked all the venues this morning, yeah. We're literally doing the write-up stuff on the website. So I'm going to say, depending on how quick our website guy can do, who's absolutely brilliant, Barry Zimmerman, we all love him. He's the best ever. No doubt he'll do it. He'll stay up all night doing it for us. As soon as they're typed up, then we will they'll be available. So this week, I'm saying,
hopefully this week.
You know, some great venues like Barston is on there, probably the most popular. Ferry Meadows, a great green.
Scott would like to come Ferry Meadows, I think.
Scott would love Ferry Meadows. We've got the Trent in this year, which is obviously going to be really good for you guys. Loads of people keep asking us about down the Trent. Got a beautiful bit of the Trent there sorted. And well, so the Glebe should be on there, hopefully. And Lindome's on there. So some great venues. But listen, if there's a venue that you want to do a day on and we believe that would be good, comment below. Put below where you'd like to have a group day. And don't forget, what we do on the group days, we get together. Everybody gets together in the morning. We do like a morning in-depth session. Rob on the box or me on the box with the other one absolutely grilling them. You're seeing it, holding it in your hands. Everything is there. And in the afternoon, we have like 3 hours and you're just putting it into practice. And usually it goes sort of half right. And we have to come round and tweak it and get you working on the right way. So, oh, hello. Where have I gone here?
No, you're still on there. You keep
Am
going.
I? Oh, I disappeared there for a second off my own screen. So
no, unfortunately, we can still see you.
So, but look, they're absolutely brilliant days. So, you know, that is definitely what I would think about.
Right. Tony Brook, hi all. Is there a standard checklist you guys go through when the fishing is hard and what you are doing does not seem to be working? I'm going to say, Tony, no, there's not a standard checklist. You have to obviously think on your feet all the time. Look what other anglers are doing. That's the first thing that you can do in matches and try and work things out. Classic example is we've just put a live match on our open access YouTube channel, our public YouTube channel. It was a Langold Lakes. Lee was fishing. The ridiculously hardest match that you could ever imagine. Unfortunately, I'm walking around. I can see what's going on. The water's chocolate. No one's catching anything. But by talking to a few anglers and spotting how anglers are catching fish, you start putting a few pieces together. And we're able to go back to Lee, and Lee was able to like have a nice little late run of fish with just a few tactical changes. And that came from watching other anglers. Now, it might not be an angler catching loads of fish. He might only catch one fish next to you. But when you add his one fish to an angler further down, how he caught his one fish, you can see that where your chance is going to come from. So that might be, I've got to cast it super long because there's only been 5 fish. They've all been caught at 50 meters plus. Or I might have to catch these fish by putting on a big feeder and sitting and waiting and having a 30-minute cast. And it might only be a case of 3 fish in the whole match have been caught doing that, but that gives you your best opportunity. So looking at other anglers is the first thing that you've got to tick off the list, I think. Do you agree?
Totally agree. You're absolutely right. It's using other people around you. Sometimes it can be at your detriment. You might miss a bite. I've done it loads where I'm like looking around, I look back and think, oh, it just wasn't quite. Have I missed that? But it's caught me 10 times that in response because ultimately Jim 2 pegs down, who's had 2 in 2 chucks, I've just seen him chuck 30 meters when I was fishing at 15. So, there's some fish at 30 meters. So it's, it is important to keep your eyes open for sure.
Chris Toon, have you ever lost that much confidence that you don't ever want to fish a match anymore? This is deep, Chris.
We know Chris, right? Chris has been on some of our days. Chris, you are a brilliant angler.
Well,
right?
Over the last 2 years, his ability hasn't plummeted. He says it's the pressure of constant winning that's got to him.
Well, I think the thing is, you're a really, really good angler, and like I said this earlier in the piece, there's no, the only pressure that, and I've had it, and Rob's had it, and everybody else has had it. The only pressure you ever get is put on by yourself. I don't think anybody looks at Rob and thinks, oh my God, he's not won a match in 2 matches. Nobody thinks like that. The pressure comes from yourself and your own performance. So it's one of the biggest things that you have to overcome. I can give you a good example, Rob. I remember going to Feeder Masters on the when I had a chance to win 3 times in a row, and everybody walking around the lake kept saying to me, "Oh, this is your chance. This is your chance." And I was really happy when the match was over because I thought, well, that's good because now I can just fish next year and not have this sort of monkey on my back, if you like. And Chris, that's really important. It's only you. It's only down to you.
I think, Chris, you've got to go fishing and just enjoy the day.
Yeah,
and you've just got to go through and just
win or lose.
Obviously, you've just said that your ability hasn't changed, so just go fishing and just enjoy the day. And sometimes, or a lot of the time, listen, a lot of the time, it won't go for you. It just won't.
No.
But as long as you stack the odds in your favour, and you say, your ability hasn't changed, stack the odds in your favour, put some practice in, make sure you're up to speed or best you feel you can be, and just go fishing. And as long as you drive home going, you know what, fished all right today. That's all I do. I just go and go, I fished all right today. If I've got a chance of winning and I fish okay, I'd like to think that I'm going to get over the line. If I've not even got a chance and I come last, there's days I drive home thinking I've come last today, but that's the best I could have done. I couldn't have won it. And I'm quite happy driving home. I don't pile the pressure on. And I think that's the way to deal with fishing. You've got to appreciate it's never, ever going to be win after win after win. It just isn't.
It's hard to do as well. We had this conversation, didn't we, Rob, when we were talking about, we were going to a very big event abroad. And I said to you, I realized a long time ago that it's easy to come like nowhere. So easy to come nowhere in a competition, right? Because you get somewhere, you get sidetracked and it all spirals out of control. So unless you're enjoying it, then what are you doing it for? So the idea is to enjoy it, and with enjoyment comes results. And when you don't win, you've almost got to just be like, it didn't go my way today. I hope I do it again tomorrow. So hard to do. In other sports that are all intense and time related and careers come and go, that must be really tough. But with fishing, it's over a long period of time. You're going to get lots of chances. You've almost got to just be like, I'm loving the journey. And if you're loving the journey, then you're going to get the results anyway. And for someone like yourself, Chris, I think that's really important. Definitely, we know you can fish. No doubt about that.
Mick Tonks, team event would be brilliant, guys, please. Happy New Year. So I don't know if he wants to win a team event or get involved with one. But I think Mick would like to have a team event in some description. Happy New Year, Mick, to you. Great guy.
If you can find a team to free, Mick, and maybe we'll if we're good enough, we'll come join.
Yeah, if we're good enough to fish with you, we'll get in.
Yeah.
Brian Blackamore, I've got 2 goals: to understand ground bait mixes for natural venues and to improve on my squat fishing. That is the sort of angler that I love.
Yeah.
Squat fishing on the canal, blasting squats in. When was the last time you bought some squats, Lee?
Every year in February, Rob, I go to the drains, don't I?
Oh, on March, yeah. If you maybe.
So we get the squats, and I fish with them for 4 weeks, and then they never come out of the bag again till the following year.
I used to love it.
I love it. It's one of my favourite little times. It's brilliant. Squat fishing is brilliant. It's just so funny. It literally doesn't happen any other time. Although the Div 1 National this year is on Leeds Liverpool Canal at Wigan.
Yeah,
so
I'm
assuming the squats will be back out there. Yeah, so we'll have some brilliant summer see-through squats.
Mark Elliott, great videos, lads. I'm not a match angler anymore, but always want to learn more. Your videos are eye-opening. Great work, lads. Mark, what a fantastic comment.
Very kind of you. Yeah.
Herman Carthius, my goal, I hope I pronounced that right, mate. My goal this year is to challenge everyone to go extreme feeder fishing and improve their PB carp on the feeder. I improved my PB on the feeder too. 25 kilo carp on the feeder.
Don't know where you're going fishing, but that sounds somewhere in Europe.
Imagine that.
I had a 15 kilo one in Poland.
Yeah, Herman uses them for bait.
Yeah, yeah, but Herman's disappointed.
Script 360 fish there. It's script like car brakes. I still don't understand. Script.
Script. Rob's goal for 2024 is to learn how to pronounce these hard ones properly.
Script 360 fishing. It's script like car brakes. I've got a decent lake here. Infrequent. I still don't get it. So you're going to have to really spell it out for me. Tony Brook, Medlands for skimmers. I think that's for coaching days. Tony Brook would love to go Medlands for skimmers.
Great shout. Great
near
shout.
Bournemouth, Script's telling me now. Near Bournemouth. That's his. Oh, that's where he's got a decent lake near Bournemouth. Dave Bailey. He's on Langold on Friday. Hope to catch a few.
Well done.
David,
watch our live match, Dave.
Watch the live match and good luck because you will need it, mate. £2 is the target. It is a tough old place at the minute. Let me tell you, it's not. It's a load of water go through it. It's a lovely place, but
and it's dropping
cold.
And it's dropping cold. Yeah,
it's going to be tough. So watch the live. You might give you our live match. Might give you a few pointers. Paul Williams, I love Hayfield as a group day. I feel it would be an interesting day. Hayfield as a group day, yeah. We've never really. We ought to go Hayfield as a group day. We ought to have a look at that because Hayfield is like a great venue to go to. I love it there. It's really good to me. We could do a few things at Hayfield, so it might be worth having a look at if we can
not bad
find out. All right, script 360 fishing. How do I find out more about the coaching days? On Facebook, within the next 10 days, I'm saying on the Edge Facebook page, we will put out the dates. It'll be open to everybody. We limit the anglers to, depending on the fishery, to sort of like 12 to 15 anglers. First come, first serve. I'm sure if you're near Bournemouth, you probably want to come. I don't know. Midlands is maybe. We've had
Bath is your best bet.
Yeah. We've had people travel a long way, so Boston might be your best bet. You know, that would be a good day out for you, I think. James Jones. All right, lads. How's it going on this cold day? It is cold, James. Yeah. Would rather be inside, I think. I don't know. Out of the wind, I'd rather be fishing. If you could guarantee me a peg out of the wind today, I'd rather be fishing. Chris Toon, thank you very much for the advice. Chris, get on the matches. Don't pile the pressure on yourself. James Jones, it's the choices you make on the day too. You can only do what is in front of you. That is correct, James. Make the best of, obviously, your situation with you when you're fishing a match. Herman Cathius, Lee, you know me as Captain Team Finderland. Finderland.
Okay, brilliant.
I am from the Netherlands.
Yep.
And you made a picture with Mark, Addy, and me.
I remember. Yeah, I do remember. Yeah.
So it's Team Finland. I think that is. He's done Team Finland and.
Tell you what, if you caught those big carp in Holland, you'll have to tell us where, and we'll come and have a go. Because I fancy 25 kilo carp on the feeder. Do you, Rob?
No, I'd love to catch a few of them. Yeah. Imagine the net. You wouldn't put them in your keep net, would you? No, not a keep net fish. Script. Here we go. More detail on the script. Script, like the noise your tines make when your emergency stops. So I've got to go script when I say his name. That's how I think I've got it now. Right. How would you look to fish for silvers on an F1 dominated lake in a silvers only match?
How do I want to what?
How would you look to fish for silvers on an F1 dominated lake in a silvers only match? So obviously, little enough to feed with maggots and casters, you're going to attract F1s, aren't you?
I've done a lot of this.
Maybe how you in particular fish riddings on the fly, and Brandon when he was next to me. I think how we fish riddings might be the way to go, don't you?
We did a really nice video at Hallcroft, Rob. It'll be about, it might be 2 years ago now. And that's basically when you've got F1s in a venue, the more frequently you feed, the more chance you've got of drawing them in. They love loose feed, and they love frequent feeding. So anywhere where there's F1s, if you're like plopping a tiny ball of ground bait all the time, or keep tapping pellets, or keep flicking over a few casters, you're much more likely to bring them in. So what I like to do is almost like feed and fish a line out. that seems to work a lot better. And that's exactly what we did at Hallcroft that day, like a ball, maybe a line with like 2 or 3 balls, and then flip between them. And like a rest is better than a feed. So like rather than topping it up, just rest your line, come off it somewhere else, and then obviously you'll go back on the line and you'll have more chance. But we've seen this because when you're F1 fishing, without a doubt, the best way of getting them in your peg is constant feed, loose feed, noise, ground bait, whatever it might be, little and often is the best way for F1s. I've never been anywhere where you can stack F1s up, but skimmers are complete opposite. They love a frequent feed to skimmers, but the F1s just bully them out. So I've been to Bradshaw's a few times, and there's like a billion F1s in there. It's an amazing place. But it means when you're silverfish fishing, you've almost got to like anti-feed. It's really bizarre, but it definitely works. So, you know, that if you're going somewhere with a lot of F1s, that would be the best advice I could give.
I sometimes feel as well, you know, Lee, F1s love maggots, but you can sometimes feed pinkies and you don't sort of get the same response, do you, from F1s?
No, it's a good shout. It's the noise, isn't it? It's the noise that you've got. So you'll catch them on it. It's just we find it all the time, Rob, don't we? You know, like it's carp are exactly the same. It's like you used to go to Psych House and you know, you'd want to start, you catch like 3 skimmers, you'd be like, oh, it needs a ball. You top a ball in, rook, carp straight away. So it was better at Psych House to feed like 6 or 7 balls and like catch a few and then go somewhere else and then come back to it and catch a few more, because as soon as a carp come in or F1s, they just bully the fish out. So, you know, it's really weird. I've had this conversation before. Commercial silverfish on most commercials, because they're so well stocked with carp and F1s, it's actually teaching us the wrong principles to fish for skimmers. Because when you go places where there isn't carp and F1s, all these things that I'm talking about, you have to do. You have to regularly top up. You have to, you know, fish like that. But when there's other fish there, you're actually trying to avoid them. So it's really interesting. It's a very interesting form of fishing for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Right, last few. Screw it, 360. Yes, thinking Boston for it. Maybe even Bob me. I think maybe I think he's there's a spelling there. So maybe Boston will come on a coaching day. David Bailey, watch the live brilliant film. I have been on there a few times in the last months. I think that's Langold. Tony Brook would love to see Baden Hall for a group day. Baden Hall, I've never been there.
I've heard of it. I've never been there. No.
You got it. Screw 360 fishing. He says, I've got it. That's the noise that he wants to hear. So, any advice, lads? Stephen, any advice on how I can improve my feeder fishing? Stephen, we'll answer that one next time. So make sure you're the first one in the comments to remind us about your feeder fishing.
You've also got a million feeder videos on the edge. Like,
yeah, loads of feeder. It's all feeder, isn't it? Well, not all feeder, but loads of feeder. James Jones, who we've just been answering a question about avoiding the silvers. That is a great shout. He fished pinkies and found that to be the case. The F1s weren't as interested. Sound advice, lads. So I wasn't doing much wrong in my last match that passed this Saturday. F1s weren't interested. So yeah, maybe incorporating that big bed of feed, fishing it out rather than constant top ups with pinkies as hook bait and feed. You might get away from the F1s doing that. Mark Galley got this is last one. Fish the Winter League match on Sunday. Need help on catching more small skimmers in 2 ounce to 10 ounce bracket. The matches are normally won with 15 to £20. It's silver only. Thanks. We can't answer. We'll answer Stevens as well about feeder fishing because we can't do. He needs help on catch. I think what we've just said to James Jones, feeding larger amounts of ground bait at the start. So we're talking instead of feeding one little ball.
Is he on a commercial, Rob?
Yeah. He's catching skimmers from 2 ounce to 10 ounce. The matches are won with 15 to £20. Silvers only. Yeah, he's on a commercial. So pinkies, dead pinkies, maybe a little bit of worm, but you need some ground bait. Mix up a kilo and a half of ground bait. Feed it on a line. I think I'd start at 13 meters, Lee, something like that.
Great place to start, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need lots, like a pot full of ground bait is enough.
Pot full and fish it out. So you might have to wait maybe 10 minutes to start getting bites on it, but just fish it out. You'll be surprised. A rest is often better than a refeed as well. So if you've got 2 lines on the go, you'll be able to nick a couple of fish, go to another line, nick a couple more, go back to that original line without feeding too much bait. Dead pinkies, nice bright bait. Water's clear on a lot of small commercials. So yeah, water's clear on a lot of commercials at the minute. This time of year, pinkies are great. We'll answer Stevens because we've answered Mark's. Any advice how to improve my feeder fishing, as it's the weakest part of my fishing? Go on, Lee. Tell him.
For me, if you want to work on your feeder fishing, you need to go to a venue where you've got the space to do it. But the biggest step for me with feeder fishing came when I fished and made myself fish feeder only. There's too many people chuck a feeder out for 35 minutes an hour, start of a day. When it's not happening, they pick the pole up or they go on something else. And that was me all the time. You know, I used to do it well at Whiteacres, stay on the feeder as everybody came off it, and it would get better. But if you do that, if you say, right, I'm having a full session feeder fishing, I'm just taking the feeder, you will see massive improvements, because it's not just about the first hour, and that'll help you massively get the most out of that early time. So that'd be my biggest piece of advice. Like, either go on matches where you think it's going to be feeder dominated, or when you go pleasure fishing, just literally take your feeder stuff. Don't take anything else and spend the time doing it. And like we said, there's loads of content on the Edge members bit, like endless stuff about all different types of feeder fishing. So you can go on, watch some of those things and put them into practice for 5 hours, not literally an hour at the start of the day.
I think to start with as well, rigs are really important. The last thing you want to be doing is spending a day untangling rigs and just not fishing. Even when you chuck it out, you're sitting there thinking, I'm not even confident I'm fishing because my rig's probably tangled. So get your rig sorted. First thing you need to do. And then, as Lee said, go and do it and learn how to do it without having the second option of a pole or a waggler rod or a float.
Easy out. Yeah.
Learn how to fish a feeder. But make sure your rigs are top notch before you go. Hopefully we're back next Monday. All being well, we should be lunchtime on Monday. Try and make it a regular thing. Thank you very much, guys and girls, for getting involved. We're going filming tomorrow. We best go and get some gear done, aren't we?
See ya.
See ya.